Hi everyone, welcome back, Jedi here. What I wanted to do for you on this video was just run through a kit that I've put together to keep in the car. Now with the winter well and truly here and the terrible weather coming in, we had the high winds recently, who knows whether we're going to get some snow, that sort of thing coming along. This is a kit that I routinely put together every year for the car. It's just thrown together with bits that I've got lying around that I've used year on year, that sort of thing. I haven't gone out and bought any specialist equipment for this. This is stuff that I've gathered up over the years and put together in this bag for this year. Basically what this is all about is it's a kit that's been put together based on my own environment, my own conditions, where I travel to work, where I tend to drive to with my wife and my dog, and this caters for the three of us, or hopefully will cater for the three of us if we were to find ourselves in a predicament that we would rather we weren't in. Now if you remember the last couple of years in the UK around about this time, or certainly through early January, we were suffering with some pretty heavy snowfall, particularly in this area where I live. It's a very hilly area, and I know 3 of the local hills were closed due to cars sliding down, so on and so forth. Now my daily commute to work is not actually that far, but again, in fact I was lucky. I was about half an hour leaving work and I managed to get home in pretty good time, but I was hearing horror stories. You know, my brother turned around and said it took him 8 hours to get home, and I was hearing other stories about people being stuck in their cars for long periods of time. You know, this is a kit that's designed to overcome those challenges if I was to find myself in them. I hope to never use it. I hope it just sits in there and never has to come out. That would be the ideal situation, but if we do get ourselves into problems, then I want to be prepared for it. It's not necessarily the to and from work, it's really the longer journeys that we do to South Wales, which is about 2.5 hours along the main motorway, down to the southeast of England, around the Essex area, and also other areas of the country as well. You know, people say, well, you've got services on the motorway and all that kind of business. Yes, you do, but you know, the snow can come down pretty quickly, as it did last year. And if you get stranded on an 11 or 12 mile stretch of motorway that's nothing but fields either side, you know, there's an accident up ahead, the traffic can't get through. You've got 6 or 8 hours. I know people were stuck in that kind of those kind of conditions for, and I would rather make it a little bit more comfortable. So here we go. I'll try and make this as quick as possible. I'll take you through the items. I'll try not to dwell too long on each of them because there's quite a lot here. But remember, this is a kit that's together for myself, my wife and my dog. Unfortunately we don't have any children at the moment to look after, but that kind of makes the job a little bit easier in putting this together, certainly. You know, if you've got a family and you've got children, you're going to have other considerations. It's gone in this pack because, you know, it enables me to put it on my back and walk any distance if I need to do so. Ideally we'd look to stay put in the car because it's always going to be warmer in the car than it is outside of the car, even though I wouldn't advocate having the engine on all the time. But that's not what this video is about. It's not telling you how to survive in that environment. It's just to give you an idea of the kit that I've got. So one of the first things is to start outside of this pack. The other supplementary items that I would have, my brown leather walking boots are always in this bag and they are always in the car without fail. On top of that, just to give you an idea of the wet weather gear that we would have, and I always have a suit, a wet weather waterproof jacket and trousers for both me and my wife in the car at all times. That's just my jacket there for an example of that. I would always have one of my wool blankets in the car as well. That's one of those. And this first aid kit stays in the car. This is the car first aid kit. It's pretty well stocked. I won't go through all of the items on there, but essentially I've got big triangular bandages, big dressings, wound dressings, lots of tape, some instructions, things like hand sanitizer gel in there. You know, just a really well stocked first aid kit for the car. It's not necessarily all about our first aid kit. Sometimes you might come up against a situation where you need to help somebody else, and that sometimes is the key about this equipment that we're carrying as well. Might not save our lives, sometimes it might be saving somebody else's. On top of that, I've got a nice big heavy torch, reliable. It's an LED lens. It's the P14, runs on AA batteries. Very reliable, good run time, good life on this thing. So being as I've got it, I keep it in the car as well. So onto the bag. Let's go through all the pockets. At the bottom here, in this zip-up compartment, hope you can see this alright, is where I keep mainly the tools, but I've got another little first aid kit in there as well. That's one I can keep on my person. If I need to leave this one in the car or at the car, then I can take this first aid kit with me as well. That one has got mainly the dressings, mainly the wound management. This one mainly has the things like the pills, the cough sweets, the antihistamines, you know, painkillers, all those sorts of things in it, with a few extras as well. This little pouch here is containing my unbelievable chainsaw. If anybody has used one of these things, they are great. They're a really good space-saving way of being able to clear branches across roads, clear a path through roads if you need to. You'll find muscles you never knew you had in your arms, shoulders and elbows and all that kind of business if you ever get around to using one of these. I guarantee you. Great fun. I've also got the Leatherman Blast. That's in its own little pouch in a case. Now I know there's going to be an issue with people saying that in the UK if I get caught with this I'm going to get hauled up in terms of prosecution and all that kind of rubbish. Well, yep, that's absolutely true, or probably true, but I'm 36 years old, I'm a responsible adult, I'm not you know, some troublemaker. I've got it housed in a sheath within a kit that is obviously an intention on my part to prepare myself and my family for any circumstances that we might find ourselves in. A chef doesn't walk down the road and get done for having his knives because he's using them in a place of work. If I get done for having a locking blade on a multi-tool in a sheath at the bottom of a bag in my car, there's something wrong with this world, and I will fight that, believe me. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of legislation around carrying knives, but there you go, that's a whole nother video. I won't go into that. If I get pulled up for it, then I get pulled up for it. I'll get a slap on the wrist and I accept it, but I'm not going without it. In the front here I've got the orange bivvy bag, that's still in its pack, unused, and down the back there, which is pretty difficult to get out, so I'm not going to bother doing it now. There's a mylar blanket, just one of these silver mylar blankets sitting behind that one. In this side pouch I have head torch, another source of illumination. This is actually a wind-up one as well, so no batteries required. I have a little mini fire starting kit in the side there. I also have a tin of de-icer, and I have a thermos flask. Now people are going to say, okay, you can't boil water in that. I know I can't. What I do have in the pack is the provisions for boiling water. I've got other containers that I can use for that. What I've got here is I've got another mechanism for keeping another litre of water in the pack, and I've also got a mechanism for when I boil up the soup and or noodle concoction, whatever I make, I've got a means of keeping it warm in here for at least sort of 6 hours. What that gives me the ability to do is ration out the food over a long period of time. I can take little sips, little and often, of the soup that's in there, and just, you know, give myself something to keep going with, rather than heating it up and eating it. Scarce resources, difficult to make fires. You know, get it done and keep it warm, keep it hot. So that's in that pack, in that side pouch. Over in the other side pouch I have just a single 2 litre bottle of water that's ready to go. There's 2 litres there. That's obviously going to be for the dog, primarily for the dog to drink, but we've got that for hydration purposes as well, and that enables me to keep us going on that for a little while. That's a litre each, well, minus a little bit for the dog of course. Maybe the dog can drink water from this one, but it's not too bad. It's enough to keep us going for a little while. So into the main bag then, the priority for a situation like this. Oh, let's go just through this top pouch here. Inside this top pouch I have a one of these Gellert saws. This is one of the screw-in handle ones that you can open up and use as a pick or a shovel, and I've used this the last couple of winters actually to get ice out from round tyres or off roads, you know, smash it up a bit, that sort of thing. Been really useful. And the other thing that I've got in here to go over the boots if I necessarily need them, a pair of these you know, ice track things. They're not the Yak Tracks or anything like those expensive brands, but it's all I got hold of at the time, so that's going in there. So moving into the main part of the pouch, which is going to be really for me around additional clothing and making sure we keep warm and that sort of thing. And that goes back in there. There we go. So into the main bit of the pack then. This first bit, which is inside a dry sack, is our clothing. There's two extra fleeces in this. On top of the wet weather gear, as the waterproof shell, we've got fleeces that keep the body's core temperature in place. I've got an additional hat, scarf and pair of gloves, thick gloves, Stinchlet style, for the extremities, covering the neck, face and head region. All of those things are designed to keep the body's core temperature in place while we're sitting out this situation. And of course, on top of all that, we've got the wool blanket as well. So I think I've covered pretty much all the bases that I need to with that one. There's quite a lot there, but you know, that takes up the main part of the pack. Then on top of that, I've got a bowl of food for the dog. Inside there's a tin of tuna and a whole bunch of kibble. So she's got about 2 meals in there, all ready and set to go. I've got a pack of super noodles, just a plain old pack of rehydrated noodles. Don't take a lot of water, easy to make up. I've got another additional cup here that we can drink from, we can share from. I can boil water in it, melt snow if I need to. I can collect rainwater in that, nice and easy. I've got a tin of minced beef and onion. I know tins are not the most ideal thing to use in a survival situation. However, it's what I had. It's nice and easy to open. It's ready and it's there. It's long life, and it sits in the middle of the pack, surrounded by other bits. So, you know, I'm not too worried about that kind of stuff freezing. I've also got a tin of mushrooms there. I love mushrooms, so I chuck that in as well. So we've got a nice little capability to make sort of a spaghetti bolognese type style, you know, meal. And on top of that, I do have in this set of mess tins, one of which I've inverted. The smaller one I've inverted and placed in the larger one, so it makes it kind of like a sealed unit. I've got some other bits, just basically some kitchen towel, some aluminium foil, which just goes on the top there, maybe for a heat shield or wind shield. I've got a set of cutlery that I had lying spare, hank of paracords in there. I've got a little stove, that's an Esbit stove with the blocks for cooking on. I've got some other fire tinder there, and don't forget I've got my fire making kit. If I can utilise that, I will as well. And some soup sachets. Basically that's it. We've got a nice hearty meal with the noodles and the minced beef and onion and the mushrooms, but we've also got the soup that I can make up and put in the thermos flask as well. So that's basically that. We've covered a lot of different options there. I've covered things like signalling. I've got the option of using the blanket, the orange blanket. In my EDC, don't forget, that's always the basic part of any survival kit. I've got a whistle, and that's going to be within my Maxpedition micro pocket organiser. I've got the ability to make fire for signalling. I've got shelter there if I need it. We've got wet weather gear. I've got the blankets to keep us warm. Got food, got the mechanisms of obtaining water. I've got water here. I've got the means to purify it and boil it. I've got the water purification tablets inside the mess kit as well. I think we're pretty set. As I say, I don't think I've left anything out. I've got the first aid options there. Navigation is not really an issue because I'm always going to be in a place along the motorway where I know which direction I'm going in. You know, it's basically along the motorway, or in the local area that I travel to and from work. So on the navigation front, not really an issue. So there you go. Give me any comments, rate, subscribe, any thoughts or anything along those lines you want to put on, then please feel free to do so. But that's basically everything. Thanks very much. See you in the next video.